Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to be ranking the films of Quentin Tarantino, one of my favorite directors of all time. Before I get into the list, I'm going to give you guys just a quick little story about Quentin Tarantino and why he's one of my favorite directors of all time. He's actually the director that got me interested in directors. Long time ago, my dad came to me and he brought me Pulp Fiction and he said, "This is a Quentin Tarantino film. We have to watch this." And I said, "Who is that? I've never heard of that actor before. I only know about like Russell Crowe and Leonardo DiCaprio, my favorite guys." But he said, "No, this is a director. He's the one who makes the film." And I thought that that was so interesting. And then after watching Pulp Fiction, I was like, okay, what are his other films? This was amazing. And eventually throughout that week, we ended up watching all of his films and getting very excited for, I think it was Django that was coming out at the time. And then we went and saw Django. And yeah, this was the first director that really got me interested in who was behind the camera, not just who was in front of it. So he holds a special place in my heart. He has 10 films. Well, he counts them as 9. So we'll go through the 9 films today. At number 10 or 9, I guess, I have Death Proof. That's going to be at the bottom of my list, only because it's like one of the shorter. I think it's the shortest film he's made. It doesn't even clock in at 2 hours. It doesn't have the huge, sprawling, amazing cast that a lot of his other films have. It doesn't have the roller coaster of an adventure that a lot of his other films have. It's more of just a bullet straight through. And while I love Kurt Russell, he's one of my favorite actors. Just this one is just not as complete of a movie as some of his other films in my mind, but it's still a lot of fun. Every once in a while, I go back and watch it just because it's such a fun ride. But yeah, Death Proof at 9. At number 8, I have Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown's super underrated. It doesn't get talked about enough, I feel. But Pam Grier is amazing in this. It might be her best performance ever. Robert De Niro is also awesome. I love the character that he plays. And yeah, just the whole cast is stacked, and the story is very well written too. The dialogue scenes are awesome. I feel like there's just no action or big draw like some of his other films have that really pulls you in. And that's why Jackie Brown kind of goes under the radar for a lot of people. So, but I did have it second last on my list too. It's just Quentin Tarantino has such a strong filmography. It sucks because a lot of these films that are at the bottom, Death Proof, Jackie Brown, they'd be very high on other directors' filmographies. So at number 7, I have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Bit of a divisive film when it came out. I knew a lot of Quentin Tarantino fans who went and saw it and didn't really like it. I still don't know how to feel about it. I know that I like it. I love the charisma of Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. I thought their chemistry was amazing. I love how the film kind of sets you up as it being kind of like this exploration into Hollywood, and then it kind of changes direction, and now it's about Charlie Manson. It's very cool how he pulled that off, but yeah, it's just not, it doesn't speak to me in the way some of his other films do. So at number 6, I have The Hateful Eight. Again, another divisive film for some reason. I loved it. Now, I am someone who loves bubble movies. What I mean by that is like a film that takes place in one location. It traps you in, and then it's all about the characters and the writing. And I love films that do that. And I thought this was one of the best bubble films I've ever seen. The cast is amazing, and everybody is amazing in this. Obviously that's tribute to Quentin's writing partly, but partly just how amazing this cast is. I mean, we got all the classics, Kurt Russell, Samuel L. Jackson, Walton Goggins. I mean, the list goes on. Tim Roth. List goes on and on and on, and everybody's fantastic in this. It felt like almost like an ensemble film. It's like all of Quentin's favorite actors came into one film, and they're trapped in this little cabin, and they have to figure it out. And yeah, I just love this film personally. So I had that at number 6 was that? And then at number 5, getting into the top 5 now, I have Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. So Quentin sees these as one film, so I'll count them as one film. Yeah, these films are incredibly entertaining, like Marvel level entertaining. Like it's mind blowing that he made these films so gory, so graphic, such a dark story, and yet it's entertaining on the level of like Star Wars. Like an amazing accomplishment. Uma Thurman's largely to not blame for that, but largely to credit for that, because she is fantastic in these movies as Beatrix. And while the cast might not be like as strong as some of his other films, because actors come in and then they come out and they come in and they come out throughout the story. But holy, everybody is perfect in Kill Bill, and it's such a fun film, man. Like I want to go back and rewatch it right now, just thinking about it, because Kill Bill is so entertaining. I think it's his most entertaining film, not by far, but almost by far. The action in it is superb, and I love the Kill Bill movies. At number 4, though, I have Inglorious Bastards. I like this one just a little bit more because I'm a huge history buff. I love World War II. I think Brad Pitt is at his most charismatic in this film. Christoph Waltz, I mean, what can you say that hasn't already been said? He's superb in this film. Like, for him to come onto the scene in Hollywood and give us a performance like this right out of the cannon, like, wow. Christoph Waltz is one of the most talented actors I've ever seen in my life, and the prime example that I point to is Inglorious Bastards. Such an amazing film. First few times I watched it, though, I couldn't get all the way through. Well, the first time I watched it, I obviously watched it all the way through, but like the second or third time I like stopped halfway through because it has this weird lull in the middle, and that's the only reason why it's at 4. If it didn't have a little bit of a lull, if you've seen it, you might know what I'm talking about, but if it didn't have that, it probably would be higher. Just these next 3 films are so perfect. Like the timing and the pacing of them is just perfect. At number 3, I have Reservoir Dogs. For a long time, this was my number 1, just because I thought, okay, this was the first film he ever made. It was decently low budget. This is something that I can kind of look at as inspiration for myself, somebody who wants to be a filmmaker. And I thought, out of all the first films I've ever seen by a director, this is like the best one. This is like perfect. And I was blown away by that. Obviously, he was blessed with an amazing cast, which, helped carry the story. But I love this film. I love also that it's a bubble film, like I mentioned before. And I love that it seems achievable for a young filmmaker. Like when you see other first directors' films and they're on all these different sets and locations, you're like, damn, how am I going to get the budget for that? But when it's just like 5 guys in a room and the story's this entertaining, it seems doable. And I love Quentin for that, even though that probably wasn't done consciously. It was probably just like he was constrained to doing that. But the fact that he pulled that off and could show like all these young filmmakers like, hey man, just write a script. It's awesome. It's super inspiring. So for me, the inspiration factor puts it a little bit higher on my list. And then getting into the top 2, it's most people's top 2. At number 2, I have Jango. So that kind of gives away the number 1. But yeah, Jango is just almost as fun as Kill Bill. Like it's up there. Some people would probably argue that it's even more fun than Kill Bill because Jamie Foxx is just so charismatic, and you have Christoph Waltz. I mean, the two of them had just amazing chemistry in this film. And then you get like 3/4 of the way through and you're like, damn, we get Leonardo DiCaprio as a villain and he kills it. Yeah, just an awesome, awesome film. It's so rewatchable. I don't know how many times I've seen this film, but I love Django, as I'm sure many of you guys do as well. It's just such a badass film. Top to bottom, I don't have any complaints about this film. It's pretty much a perfect film. So at number 1, again, most people see this as a perfect film, Pulp Fiction. It's kind of the one that put him on the map. It's the one that broke Quentin Tarantino's name out, and everybody was talking about him after Pulp Fiction. And yeah, it's a perfect movie. I don't know what else you can say. Like, it's a top 10 film of all time, probably. It's like up there with Fight Club and 2001 and The Godfather. Like, it's of that cloth. It's so perfect. And I don't know what I could say about it that hasn't already been said without going into like a full analysis video of it. But holy, when I first saw this film, like I said, it was the first Quentin Tarantino film I ever saw. I had no idea you could make movies like that. This felt like the director had full control. This didn't feel like there was a studio that hired a director to make a film. This felt like the director was like, give me the camera, put the actors in front of me, and let me make the magic. And I mean, all of his films really feel like that, but the spirit of it in Pulp Fiction is so strong because this film goes everywhere. It takes you on so many turns. You're like, how did a studio approve this film? It's quite wild that this film was even made. So I'm happy that we have it because it's a marvel of cinematic achievement. And yeah, just so much fun. It's so rewatchable. That's what I love about Quentin Tarantino's films. They're so rewatchable. Like other directors that I'll cover, like Tarkovsky or Bergman or Kurosawa for some people. Like, they're harder to rewatch. They're harder to go back unless you're really, really into that stuff. But Quentin Tarantino just seems to be so entertaining to pretty much everybody I meet. I mean, I very rarely meet somebody who's like, I don't like Quentin Tarantino. but yeah, that's my list for today. Maybe I'll do an update on this list when we get the final film from him, his 10th and final film. I'm so excited for it. Can't wait to see what he does. But yeah, maybe I'll do a little recap when that one comes out. But for now, those are my my rankings of Quentin Tarantino's 9 masterpieces, I would say. I'd say all of those films are great. All of them I recommend. And yeah, he's just one of my favorite directors of all time. So I wanted to talk about him a little bit today. And yeah, let me know in the comments, how would you guys rank them? I'm really curious to know because I had a hard time making this list. Really, I could switch them around all day and be happy with it. So let me know in the comments how you guys would rank them. Which one was your favorite? Which one did you guys see first? That would be a cool story to tell. Yeah, with that all out of the way, thank you guys for watching as always. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps boost this channel and the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.